Hey there, Internet. It's me, Broken Terrain, and I'm doing it again. I'm taking some amazing dollar store toys, and I'm going to turn them into something even more amazing for your table. Check out Lolth, the Spider Queen. I'm going to show you how I created her right after the drop. Man, the dollar store just keeps on providing. Here's a weapons and armor pack for a small vehicle they've added. It has these two arms or legs. Look at these things. Wow. Wow. And each pack comes with a left and a right and a tail. And this thing on its own could be a tentacle or something. Fantastic. Wonderful. And I just keep going through all the goodies. I've got these little fellas here. Ultimately, I decide not to touch these for this project because they're they're practically good to go as they are. Just base them up and put them on the table. Look at this. I know it's $1.25 now instead of $1, but still amazing. Nice job, Dollar Tree. I love these Final Faction figures. I've gotten a few builds out of them, and I'm going to get one more build out of them. Here's another one with these spider legs. I went there recently and found several packs, all with this kind of spider leg here, and I love it. This it's like a techno armored alien kind of infused plating technology kind of look. Love it. Finally, the Decimator here. I loved these big bladed hands, and for the longest time I was absolutely dead set on using these as the front arms of the of Lolth. And as you saw at the start, I don't end up using those at all, which was rather surprising. But I do like the, I believe the piece was called the Decimator. I do like the body of it. I end up cutting off or removing the spring-loaded shooter piece. You can see it's almost like a vertebrae. And then I turn to my Barbies. I've got a couple Mermaid Barbies that I'm really excited. I think one of these is going to work really well for my Lolth figure. I actually have 3 figures I'm looking at, 2 Barbies and a Disney Ariel, but ultimately I do not like the head sculpt of the Ariel. So I turn back to both the Barbies, and I like this purple-haired one. She has this really fun, playful pose, and I really like the idea of my Lolth Spider Queen being fun and flirty and playful. So I measure her up, and she looks like she's going to fit just right. I don't want her to be that high up off of the spider body, so I end up cutting a few of the plastic vertebrae off first with a knife to ensure that it clips correctly. Then I grab my clippers there and clean the cut up with an X-Acto. I'll place her over the top, get a feel for where I want, and Mermaid fans, turn away. I cut her tail off with the clipper, and I'll go back in with the clipper again, give the cut just the slightest of angles inward to try and match the vertebrae on the piece. You can see it works really, really well. I know I'm going to be grabbing the Lolth character by the body quite a lot. That's going to be the point at which you grab it and move the figurine about. So I decide I'm going to pin it to the body with a little hand drill. I drill inside the Barbie figure and glue a toothpick in place, and then I drill a corresponding hole, cut the toothpick down to size, and squeeze her in there. The fit is fantastic. I'm really happy with how this looks. Some hot glue on the pin first, then the pin and the body together. And then to hide the seams, I'm going to hot glue around the outside and use the hot barrel of my hot glue gun to kind of draw some texture up and merge the insect body with the used to be fin body. At this point, I need to start thinking about the body of the spider. And at first, I think that I've got exactly what I need with those tentacles. I clip these big, ridiculous sucker heads off of them, and I try to arrange them as like I know on a bug it's called a thorax. I'm not sure what it's called on a spider, but it's not working. They're not a left and a right like the claws are. They are instead the same piece, and they don't mirror well. So I try some of the plastic packaging. It doesn't quite fit right. I have an old water bottle I try to cut down, but I don't like the look of that either. So instead, and then keeping with the idea that it's dollar store, I'm using the packaging, trying to spend as little as possible outside a dollar store pieces. So I measure the figure against the chipboard there, draw out a shape, looks good, and then I will draw out a cross section or the top view. So that was the side piece. Now I'm drawing the top piece there. Once cut out, I'll cut a little track to fit the two together to create my 3D shape. I fit the two together, hot glue them, and then make sure it looks good and hot glue it in place to the actual figurine. Once it's glued in place and I like where it is, I secure it, and then I go back and I make these ribs. And these ribs are going to contour, give my body piece shape, and this is going to allow me to lay my paper mache down. I take a textured paper towel and cut it in strips. Mix up some water and white PVA glue for our paper mache mixture, and then I'm just going to dip the strips inside and then begin to wrap the spider butt the spider butt shape. One after the other, I'll dip the strips in the water and glue mixture, making sure they get nice and saturated, and then just wrapping them all over the body one at a time, ripping and tearing pieces when you need to, as the shape determines. You can see here, after a few layers, it starts to look really good, starts to get very sturdy. And once you're finished, just set that aside and let it dry. Check it out. Really happy with the shape, and the fact that it's got these fins underneath it actually lends itself the idea of like an insect plating or exoskeleton. So I decide to really capture that feel and add some more texture similar to that aspect with the hot glue gun. I'll run the hot glue, a bead of hot glue down the certain parts of what might be a plate for the spider. Then I'll go back in and double it and use the hot glue gun nozzle to pull it from the edge, kind of giving it the look and feel of a rough plate. This is going to hide any kind of raging seams you had with the paper mache. So now we've got our spider's body put together. It's time to check out some legs. I've got different leg configurations. These are different sides that I had. Was asking my wife what she felt. I really wanted the big blade up front, but ultimately pretty much everybody decided to go all in on the big legs. So I ended up having to go back to the store, getting a couple more packs of those big legs, and it was worth it. I start by gluing one in the front, and I'm utilizing these holes in the body piece where the legs used to be for the original figure. The one goes in, the second one I'm going to pin, and I'll continue to pin most of these legs here so that my figure is nice and secure and sturdy. Let's see, the pin is in, then more hot glue, and I'll even go around the piece on the outside with more hot glue, using the nozzle to continue creating texture and creating a believable seam. And then it's just next set, next set, next set until we've got the whole thing just covered in spider legs. I did make some changes off camera. I made my Lolth a little curvier by using the hot glue gun and a piece of parchment paper, doing a couple drops and then adhering them in the proper place. I hid my bad blending job with some chain, gave her a crown of toothpicks, and then to hide the seams in the front, I utilize a pack of Halloween rings from the dollar store of Halloween's past, a bat and a spider. And when trimmed up, I think they do a really nice job of decorating the front of the spider. Then I cut some chipboard from the packaging to create some plating for the back of my spider. And I wrap some chain around in a crisscross pattern. I'm absolutely thrilled. I love the way my Lolth Spider Queen has turned out. I hit it with some black primer and then some white across the top, a nice zenithal. And this is going to help with my my painting, give it some natural light. Lolth is a drow, so I'm going to use Army Painter's Speed Paint Grave Lord Gray here to paint her skin. Ends up looking really nice. I'm really happy. I'm a big fan of the Army Painter Speed Paints. I've got a video about it if you haven't checked it out. I recommend it. Then I turn to my craft paints. A nice purple here for the spider, and I go over the whole spider minus these weird plates on the tops of the legs. And I'll go up the body of my Lolth figurine as well, so that it's as if she's merged and intertwined with the body of the spider and the purple plating. These legs have a really neat piece of detail that I think is going to look really cool with this cobalt blue. And so I make sure I hit up every single leg, and it really does the trick. It really looks nice. In fact, this cobalt blue looks so nice, I end up dry brushing the whole darn thing with it later on. There's another piece of detail in each of the legs. I decide I want some punches of color, so I turn to my flag red and fill it in. I'm going to hit those armor plates and the chain with this gunmetal. Just a craft paint, nothing special. Just making sure I get all the edges and all of the plate. And then I'm going to hit the whole thing with Nun oil. This ended up being fairly expensive, but I'm almost out of my homemade black wash, and I don't trust it on this figure. I was so pumped with how she had turned out. I was willing to spend the big money on the wash to make sure that all those details and things really were accentuated with the use of a wash. And then I get the bright idea to use a bright gold. I want her crown to shine, and then I thought this was a great opportunity to do the edges of all those plates. I thought she's a queen. We got this beautiful royal purple look with some gold trim for her plates. I'm loving the look. Man, she looks fantastic. Finally, some dry brushing. I'm going to pick some edges back out in her hair. And carefully pick some other spots. And she is done. Amazing. I am so pumped with how this figure turned out. I could see this going as a figure in a box store. I mean, she looks great. And I'm really pleased with the homemade body. The back end looks great. It doesn't look out of place. The legs all look amazing. Well, I still would have loved to have utilized some of those other legs, but I think my Lolth Spider Queen looks absolutely fantastic. Do you think she looks great? Did we do a good job? Please smash that like button. Did I do such a great job that maybe I've earned myself a coffee? Why don't you give me a super thanks? That would be super awesome of you. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit that subscribe button. If you want to support the channel, hit my subscribe star link or my merch store link in the video description. If you've got friends and family that love this kind of stuff, share this video with them. They'll love the video, they'll love you for it, and I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's all I've got for you. Really appreciate it. As always, like each other, love each other, and craft on.